What up, everybody? This is Dregs One. Welcome to another episode of the History of the Bay podcast, recorded right here at Empire Studios in the city by the Bay, San Francisco. And today we got a lot of Frisco players in the building, man. You know, one especially, this is somebody that people have been asking us for, trying to get the story told. You know, the only way we know how to do it right here on the History of the Bay. This cat has been dropping since the 90s with some of your favorite rappers from the West Coast and beyond, putting down for in a real way, representing for the city, for his people, for his hood, for the whole Bay Area. I'm talking about the one and only Cisco the Frisco Mac, a.k.a. Don Cisco.
Don, man, what's up with it, man? Chilling, man. That's me.
Appreciate you coming through today, man.
Hell yeah, History of the Bay. You know I'm showing up. Come on.
Well, it wouldn't be complete without you, man.
For sure, man.
Yeah, and like I said, I was telling you before we got started, like a lot of people actually been asking
That's dope.
for you to come on. They want to hear the story. They want to hear that what's new, and you know, myself included, because this is our first time meeting.
Yeah, pleasure. You know that for a number of respect and love, man. Cool cat, I'll tell you that. You know,
right on,
real,
bro. Yeah, from one Frisco giant to another, man. You know, anybody representing the city,
Lo Gigante,
I got to rock with.
That's how we do it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, bro, you grew up in the Excelsior?
Yeah, I was born and raised. I was born in St. Luke's. You know what I mean, right there, and lived in the Mission for a few years. And my family ended up buying a house in Excelsior. You know what I'm saying? Naples Street. You know what I mean? I've been a resident of that block like 2-3 times on that same block, you know what I mean? But I lived in all the European countries out there, you know what I'm saying? Munich, Hamburg, everything, man. So, yeah, Excelsior District's my neighborhood, man.
Man, I got a lot of love for the E because I grew up in Lakeview, so that's a hop, skip, and a jump right away, you know what I'm saying?
We definitely mess with each other in
Cross Balboa Park, and you right there.
Yeah, ocean, you just take the ocean down, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
For real.
Yeah. And Excelsior is like one of them neighborhoods that's kind of special because it's so diverse. You got Latin, Asian, Chinese, Filipino, Samoans.
Yeah, you got it all.
Black folks, Irish,
definitely,
Italian.
Yeah.
And even to this day, like the city has changed up so much, but you go through Excelsior, it still feels like
yes,
real
it's
Frisco.
Definitely a melting pot of melting pots right there. That place it's a beautiful place, man. Like, that's why I feel like I am who I am today. You know what I mean? Real shit. It's without that, it was that culture that raised me up. That's why I grew up knowing. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just one and only that. You know what I mean? It wasn't that.
Right.
It was us. You know what I mean? And we was there from the beginning. So that's what I know. You know what I mean? What I seen.
So what was your childhood like growing up in that neighborhood?
Oh man, it was beautiful. It was sick. You know what I mean? My memories as a youngster. You know what I mean? They come knock out, I'll be at the house, little kid or something, whole neighborhood come knocking at his door for you, you know what I'm saying? You be like, my mom be like, your friends is outside, I'm like, we on the block, you know what I'm saying? They're like, come on out. I'm like, and it'd be a welcome party, you know what I'm saying? So when you coming out, you know what I mean? For sure, let me grab my coat. I hit the block and I ain't been back since, you know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
I ain't been back since.
Just curious, where'd you go? This is a real Frisco question. Where'd you go to high school?
I went back for a second, you know what I mean? But it was short lived, man. And I was I bounced around the Mac, and then after the Mac, then they shot me down to continuation, you know what I'm saying? And then I actually finished off though, and I was doing bad in school, like real shit. But I went to San Jose, right? Finally, the trouble I was getting into, they said you're gonna live with your pops, types, you know what I mean? So I went to San Jose, and I hit, and I ended up figuring out a way to somehow to start doing good in school. You know what I mean? For like the last 2 years, you know what I mean? Like that was my shit. You know what I mean? So I thought I was pretty done when I was in Frisco. It was just all bad. We were just. I didn't even care about school, but then I guess I must have been paying attention because some kicked in where they gave me some tests and they was like, "Oh yeah, you should be over here." I was like, "Okay, that's cool," and they put me in some classes and I did what I could, and then I came back to Frisco because, you know what I mean, mom and pops type of shit, it's just crazy, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's how it was, you know what I mean? That was my thing.
Switch up the environment real quick.
Yeah, got to.
Yeah.
Go where you needed when you were kids, you know what I mean? Where they need you to be at, you know what I mean?
Right. At what point did the music come into your life?
It was always there, man. Like, I remember my mom, you know what I mean, Frisco, you know what I mean, we got they got the in-laws downstairs, whatever, you know what I mean? So we used to always have like a room just like full of music, you know what I mean, where all the records, you have them like all like wall to wall, you know what I mean, wax everybody, you know what I mean, Earth, Wind and Fire, to Commodores, you know what I mean, to Fania All-Stars, the whole selection, you know what I mean, and so it was a good, you know what I mean, that's why I grew up listening to music. I fell in love with music there, and yeah, that was my thing.
What about hip hop specifically?
Hip hop specifically, man. You know, everybody's pop locking, dancing, break dancing, doing all that. I'm doing my thing. Shit just was getting intricate on that dance tip. I was like, man, they doing some crazy old Thomas Flares and some, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm good. I ain't gonna do that. So I said, let me pick up this mic. Tell you the truth though, Dregs, first time that got me influenced was when I met Sugar Hill Gang.
You met Sugar Hill Gang?
Yeah. I'm a little ass kid with onesies, you know what I mean? I got the feet on the bottom, you know what I mean? And the zip up. And we taking my dad to the airport. And he's flying out to Mexico to go handle some business. And it's like midnight or something. And they took me to the airport. But they took me there, and I was running to Sugar Hill Gang out there. I seen them pull up, and I'm looking. I'm a little ass kid on my mama's hand. I'm like, I want to go talk to these people. You feel me? She's like, who's that? I'm like, that's Sugar Hill Gang. She's like, what? Hold on. Anyway, she brought me over. You know what I mean? She brought me over there, and she let my hand go, and I wanted to talk to him. And it was like, it was impactful because I tell you, I met them and it was like, who's this little man? You feel me? They tripping out like, who's this? I'm like, man, I'm going to be the next y'all. You feel me? He's like, is that right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, it just gave me love. It gave me big love. Took some, you know what I mean, highs and, you know, gave me hugs and shit and sent me on my way. That made me like want to really feel I was going to be able to do it one day. You know what I mean? And a couple years later, we was cutting some records and doing some shit.
Wow, that's big. Yeah, because that's not something you could just see up close. No. Every day like that.
It was trippy. It was a trip. I mean, and it was a trip that I knew at like a 9 or 10. You know what I mean? It was a trip that I knew that. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's them. I could just tell the way it rolled up. It was sick. Like, you know, you see that all day now in culture. You see that all day with people pulling up Bentleys but back then it was like a real. It was real. Like I was like, hold on. I was just starstruck, like for real. Like, and it was the whole crew.
What about locally? Like, what was the first rap you recall hearing out of Frisco or the Bay Area?
Frisco, we had a lot. In Frisco, we used to have a lot, you know. And I became friends with some of the legends out there that raised me up and showed me a lot of techniques and style. You know, my boy Fly Moore, TC, you know what I'm saying? UDI, Tay to Tay, all them cats. Of course, they was I ended up getting to know them, but Too Short, you know what I mean? Of course, you know, I remember that first record we heard with the Cadillac and 75 Girls. We was like, what the hell is this shit? We was knocking it. And it was just, you know what I mean? That's what it was, you know what I mean? 40, you know, click shit though. It was just click shit back then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, it's one thing that's interesting. It's kind of like we was talking about before we started rolling, like how much the Bay Area it's like a black and brown thing. Yeah, it's not much separation, but in hip hop, early hip hop, it wasn't that much Latino representation. What was that like being Mexican and getting into rap around that time?
It was like that, Dregs, but you know, in my mind, I didn't see it like that, right? But now I look back at it, you know what I mean? Perhaps it was like we had a contest in Bayview Hunters Point, you know what I'm saying? And it was pretty, you know, segregated, but I mean, we was the only ones that came out different, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, but they gave us love, like I can't lie. Like first they laugh at you, you know what I'm saying? They was cracking up at us, you know what I mean? We came out with some singing shit, you know what I mean? And it was like, what the hell is this? And then the beat dropped, dum 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 dum. Man, it was over with, you know what I mean? We started rapping, it was sick. And so it's like, you got to win them over. That's how it was for me. You know what I mean? If you could win the crowd over, they're going to fuck with you. You know what I mean? If you can't win the crowd over, then that's on you. You know what I'm saying? That's how I felt.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because like nowadays, that's nothing. We got Latin rappers, Asian rappers, whatever. It's not really a thing. You know what I mean?
For sure, everybody. Yeah.
Back then, it was pretty rare. And I was actually talking when Total Devastation was on the podcast. I was trying to figure out like who was the first Latin rapper in the Bay. It might be them. I don't know if you have a different recollection.
I mean, my first record was on in '88. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And I was still in high school doing my thing, and it ended up connecting on Warner Brothers. You know what I'm saying? It got on Warner Brothers, and Jelly Bean Benitez fucked with us, and you know what I mean. I went to New York, did the joint, hooked up with Louis Vega, India. And this is back when it was just, you know, I didn't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? But it was good. Our folks signed, let us roll, we did our thing, and so that's what I know. You know what I mean? So anything before that, if you could trump that, then trump it. You know
what was the name of that record?
It was called Viva la Música.
Wow. So you might be the first Latin rapper from the Bay Area.
Bitch, I might be. Bitch, I might be. You know what I mean? It's what it is. Shout out Gucci, man. Fucks with Gucci on real shit. You know what I mean? It's real shit.
Man, interesting. Yeah, this is what like this platform is for. You know, like
we're just gonna reiterate. You feel me? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, 1988. Yeah. All right, so you went from like cutting your own tapes or records at the house to actually doing like a professional.
It was a fluke. I had an uncle, you know what I mean? I'm rapping at the birthday parties, whatever, you feel me? My uncle's like, man, I want you to come to LA, meet this producer, whatever. So we shot down there. He brought us down there, and we recorded this joint and left back. And then a month later, 2 months later, it was like, hey, you're going to get signed to Warner Brothers, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? So we did it. It was a single, just a single, you know what I mean? But it definitely opened up, it introduced me to the business, and it was sick, like, you know what I mean? Like the first little lick we hit, you know what I'm saying? We hit, you know what I mean? It was cool. You know?
Yeah, hell yeah. So what was like the business like on that one? Like, did you end up getting signed?
Oh, I mean, for the single deal, yeah.
Just for a single deal.
Yeah, it was crazy. You know, family and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? It was a learning experience. Business is business. You know, like my auntie told me, it's show and business, right? What's the biggest of the words? Business. So therefore, you got to have more business than show. You feel me? And that's what I'm trying to do this time around, and educate my people and those that I work with, and those that anybody that I can influence and guide. I'm trying to guide them in the right direction and show them, you know, the knowledge that I got and experience. You know what I mean? And how to move, type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make this happen. You know what I mean?
So that single deal didn't lead to.
No, it didn't. It didn't. I was I was approached to fire my uncle, you know what I'm saying? And I chose not to, you feel me? And that's all it was. You know
like he was your manager?
Yeah, he was my manager. It was like, we need him out the mix, you feel me? And I should have just like fired him and kept him on the humble quiet, you feel me? Looking back, but I was like, you know, the whole family talking about it, everybody like, what are you gonna do with your Theo? And I'm like, man, I don't even know, like, you know what I mean? Grandma asked me questions, I'm like, grandma, you know what I mean? And back then, it was, you know what I mean, I got influenced, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, I just kept it rocking, and it was crazy, because the people that they introduced me to, Warner Brothers, like, just go meet the people, man. They sent me to some dude in Beverly Hills, kid, you know what I mean? This kid, big-ass, lavvy-ass spot, and he saw, I want you to hear my artist, and he played some shit, like, I never heard of it. Britney Spears at that time, you feel me? I'm like, what? I'm like, she was, I'm like, it was cool, I'm like, all right. But it just didn't sit right in my gut, you know what I mean? It was just bad. I wanted to do it, I ain't gonna lie, but I didn't. I figured there'd be other opportunities or whatever, but, you know, shit happens. So next time, you know, it's a note for your kids, you know what I mean?
Wow. So so did your uncle have experience, or was it just
No, he was straight, he didn't have no experience, you know what I mean?
Okay.
He just kind of like bogarted his way in the position. He just kind of like, it was all bad, but I mean, I love that nigga. He's my uncle, you know what I mean? So I'm like, whatever, you know what I mean?
That's a tough position for a kid to be in.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was fucked up. But I mean, yeah. Then later on, I mean, it's crazy. I done been through so much experience, you know what I mean, to where, you know, encounters with Suge, encounters with, you know, Jerry Heller, you know what I mean? Different along my path. There's been a gang of people that I done got to meet and potentially sit down with and do deals with.
I mean, that's kind of one thing I noticed, because like you got some underground tapes and independent tapes, but like a lot of your career has been like kind of in like major label spaces and spaces outside of the Bay Area. Yeah.
Sometimes I go out of state and you know, hook up with cats. Shout out to New Mexico. I gotta send shout out to all the states out there that I fucked with. You know what I mean? Got love for me. Arizona, Utah. You know what I mean? Places I've been to that we bring this Frisco Mac is, and we take that with us. You know, we show up. We was doing shows out there with Mac Dre and Be Legit, and back in the day, you know, I remember when first I I think I'm the first cat that brought him there. You feel me? And got money and everything. You know what I mean? It was real shit. And people remember me for that. You know what I mean? They know I done brought that shit out there. You know what I mean? Maybe cats out here I don't know, but out there I showed up with them. You feel me? And that's what I do. You know what I mean? Like I really fucks with my people out here in a real way. So that's what we was doing back then.
So in LA, you was like shopping demos and stuff too?
Yeah, I was at different times. I ended up getting signed by a manager, and it was Maury Alexander and Jerry Heller. And so I seen Jerry Heller on there, right? I'm like, I know who Jerry Heller is, you feel me? Like, I signed a contract, and we did a little demo deal with Capitol Records. And Capitol Records, they had Mellow Man Ace at that time, you feel me? So it was like, it should be cool, whatever, but I was a knucklehead. I did a lot of dumb shit, you know what I'm saying, Dregs? And I show up to places cocky as fuck, you know what I mean? Just ready to, and sometimes I would get at people the wrong way type shit, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I don't know, you know what I mean? But now me and Mellows,
so y'all got into it?
No,
it's like a little competitive type of?
Yeah, on some rap shit, you know what I'm saying? Type shit, you know what I mean? All I knew, I didn't even know nothing else but type shit, you know what I mean? But,
so this was Jerry Heller after Ruthless Records?
No, that was while he was doing his thing with Ruthless.
Damn.
You feel me? I called him up one day because I never met him, right? So I got Maury Alexander. I'm like, Maury, where the fuck's Jerry at, man? He's like, call him. He's right there in Riverside. Whatever. I'm like, get the number. Call him up. I want to talk to Jerry Heller. This is Frisco Mac, yeah. They put me on the phone. Beautiful girl answered the phone. I could just tell she was, hello, she sexy as hell, right? And I called Jerry. Jerry gets the phone. Yeah, what's going on, Cisco? I said, man, you know, my contract says your name on it, man. I don't even know who you is, man. I ain't even met you, man. Can I come holler at you? He's like, you over there with Maury? Man, get over here, man. Maury don't know what, get over here, Cisco. I said, all right. So we drive out there to fuck with him. That was in, I think, Riverside or what was it at? It was what they were talking about, when Q was talking about on this record, when you moved to Riverside or whatever. So we go out there to the labs, the studios, you know what I mean, and get with Maury. When I get with Jerry had it going on. It was, you know what I mean, secretaries banging and Easy pulled up, you know what I mean, it was cool. That's when they actually got Suge just been there like the night before or some shit, you know what I mean? So he was like, hold on. I was about to sit down. They was like, hold on. Get up, get the cushion up, get the strap, excuse me. I'm like, damn, Jerry, you about to get my dick, man, what's that, bro? He's like, sorry about that, Cisco. You know what happened. You know, you heard about what happened? I said, yeah, I heard about what happened, man. It was just crazy, you know what I mean? So it was during that time, you know.
Damn. So after what happened with Mellow Man Ace, they stop fucking with you? Or?
Yeah, they say, you know what I mean, we're just not gonna do American deal. They did a European deal, I think like in 13 countries out there. I dropped 2 singles. I just barely noticed it was on right now. You know what I mean? I got 2 singles out there that I didn't even know dropped, but I guess they dropped. So.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I got some money. They can give me some money. You know what I mean?
They gave you like a little upfront.
Yeah, they gave me like 10 bands. You know what I mean? They gave me some bands, you know, for 2 records.
Yeah.
It was cool. I was like, well, for 2 records, I'm cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing. I just said quick. So I'm doing, at that point, I was doing 3 songs a day, you know what I mean? Every day, you know what I mean? So that's how I was doing it.
So how did you end up, how did Suge approach you?
Oh, Suge was a little later. That ended up being another uncle of mine. Shout out to JR. Oh, first one was Bobby. But love them both. But JR, who did I hook up with Suge? How did we hook up with that? Somebody gave us a line on Suge or something, or we bumped in him or something, and he was like, bring me a demo. So we brought it to him, and they held on to it for a minute. They had it. They was fucking with it, but back then I was so anxious, you know, pressing it, you know what I mean? What's happening? You know what I mean? A month go by, I'm like, what's happening? 2 weeks go by, I'm like, what's happening? So it was like, yeah, we want to fuck with you, but we need. I didn't know they was about to bring Pac out. Pac was about to get bailed out. Feel me? So then I ended up bumping into all, you know, the cats later, Daz and Kurupt, and hooking up with them cats. But so yeah, it was just Suge had it for like he had the demo for about a good month. You know what I mean? Damn,
man, you was in the mix, bro.
Yeah, man, it's close, man. I've been right around there, you know what I mean? All around the outside, though, you feel me? But no, I've been fucking with some real cats from the Bay. I do music that I love, man, that I feel. And it's been a pleasure. I've been doing shit with Baby Bash, my group, Latino Velvet.
Well, we'll get to it. But I just think it's big to like recognize this on the platform because like, you know, in the city, we always pushing for our artists. We always trying to get heard. We always want to see our people win and be successful. And a lot of stories like yours is just like being right close to when this thing was about to pop off in business or whatever it is, just kind of like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Keeps us like just this close to breaking out. But that's also what keeps like the music, like you said, dope and authentic and true.
Yeah. That struggle's in it all the way, you feel me?
Yeah.
And I tell you something, it's always been a treasure trove of mine to be able to, I know I listen to music that not everybody's able to listen to type shit, you know what I'm saying? And that's one of the luxuries of doing it.
It doesn't surprise me though that like you was getting like major attention because I feel like in the early 90s there was a big push for like, I think people saw the potential of Latin rap when you got like you know, not to be, you know, that Rico Suave type shit.
Them cats.
Lighter shade of brown and, you know what I mean? And Frost, who you worked with, like all that shit. People saw like, oh, there's actually a lane for Latin rap.
Yeah, it really did happen, and it happened overnight. I tell you, I signed with that dude Maury, right? I signed with Maury, and he told, when I'm signing with him, he goes, yeah, I got 2 Latin artists right now. I said, who you got? He told me the names, Kid Frost and Mellow Mayonnaise. I ain't never heard of them. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah, got a great, you ain't heard this record, big record, La Racha, it's gonna be a big record. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, I'll hear you. And then he goes, and Mellow Mayonnaise is Mentirosa. I said, okay, sounds right. You know what I mean? Sounds right. Sound like it might be right. You know what I mean? They doing it right. And then all of a sudden I hear the joint on the radio, right? I'm like, that shit is doing it. You know what I mean? And shout out to Forrest, you know what I mean? And of course, they was doing a show out here in the Bay. So you know what I mean? I called up Maury, like, Maury, what's up, man? You said that was your boy. Put me on. I'm trying to go fuck with him. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, for sure. Just go, hold on. Put me, gave me his number. I called dude Forrest. He was like. He was really deep in his character at the point. He was, what's going on? You know what I mean? We're over here at the Holiday Inn. I'm like, okay, all right, what's the address? I shot through, you know what I mean? And fuck with him, you know what I mean? And seen it for real, up close. But it was funny, you know, he's different nowadays, you know what I mean? But back then he was a little wild and the shit was just crazy back then, you know what I mean? The politics and everything and the no communication, the no even beginning to like welcome me. It was just like, them cats was coming down hard. Like, you know, and we just had their boys standing like this. You know what I mean? Bandanas hanging, and they in a homeboy position. And they, so eventually the crowd started messing around. You know what I mean? Getting crazy. And I'm like, man, bring them cats down, bro. They just agitating the crowd type shit. You know what I'm saying? And they like, nah, we gonna go back out. I'm like, I ain't going out with that shit. That's not my shit right there. But the first night I met him, it was cool. You know what I mean? We got to the club. We did 2 clubs in one night. I jumped in a limo with him, and I'm riding up front. They got me riding up front with the driver, right? Because I ain't with the crew, so I'm riding up front with the driver. The driver happened to be this brother named Gary. I ain't seen him in a minute. Cool ass brother. Ended up becoming my partner. So I'm sliding with Gary, and I get to the club, and right before we go on stage, they start freestyling and want to see what's happening, right? Like, this is my moment I've been waiting for, you know what I mean? Finally. So I start going in, and they're like, okay. He's like, hey, you want to rap tonight? I'm like, hell yeah. He's like, all right, cool. So we get out there, and that was cool about it, you feel me? And he passed the mic to me, you know what I mean? We got down, you know what I mean? I got down. Now, after that, we're going to San Jose. So I call my peeps. And this is back when, you know, brick phones type shit. I call my peeps like, yo, finna be at this, everybody hit the club. They show up. I start getting down, and all of a sudden the record starts skipping on the record. I don't know who was doing it, but somebody was doing it, you feel me? And the stage was like wobbly type shit, you feel me? So you know what it is, right? Don't move around type shit, you feel me? Cats is moving type of shit. I'm like, oh, niggas trying to sabotage shit, right? Because I got lit the first time, so the second time, started going off beat. I'm fast at that. I start rapping off beat, trying to catch me, knocking it, and the crowd just go crazy. You feel me? It's just like you can't sabotage me, man. Come on, man. And I catch his backed up. It was like, cause we was doing that doom, 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 doom. You know what I mean? It just and Ralph M, shout out to Ralph M, the Mexican, the DJ, he was doing his thing, but somebody was on stage jumping around, messing shit up. So, but it worked. We worked itself out. You know what I mean? It's always been a struggle. So it's still a struggle today. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You gotta get in where you fit in.
Yeah. You gotta know how to.
You gotta be able to improvise. Yeah.
If you can't do that, they might just pass you up. Man.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's also why I was interested in, like you said, like how you talking about how Kid Frost was moving back then, and like you said, like political, like the L.A. rap politics are like crazy. The street politics in L.A. is like crazy, but like I said, up in Frisco, it's always been more like a black and brown type of vibe. We got a whole different movement. Yeah. Especially like you said, coming out of Excelsior, it's like that ain't nothing really like East LA or some of them other places down there. You know what I mean?
You know what? It's even like that some out there. I done been out there and was introduced to cats that are dark melancholy. They look like black brothers or African Americans or something, and maybe they are, and they're with the homeboy clique or something. You feel me? And running shit out there.
That's true.
So cats is all over. It's just how you want to take every individual situation. If you want to blow it out into something, if you want to make it a problem type shit, you know what I mean? You don't got to make it a problem. Everything ain't got to be an issue. You feel me? But for those that do that and follow you around and pursue you, you know, sometimes you gotta try to work it out and try to get the shit past. You know what I mean? Like, let's get it over with, man. Because that's back then it was like it's in still agitation. Like right now, barely right now in this day and age, 2025, Latino rap, Chicano rap has developed to the point where it's big, like it's damn near up there where it's like getting recognized like as a real factor, like real shit. You know what I mean? Before, it's been minor league type shit. You feel me?
Right.
And I'm happy this happened. I'm so happy about that. But at the same time, it still ain't worked out. We ain't worked out the differences. We can't move from bilateral. We can't go from north to the south. I was able to do that back then. You know what I mean? Me, Baby Bash, a couple cats, was able to move like that. You know what I mean? And I don't understand why. I do understand, but it's like something else. It's real political. You know what I mean? But the point I'm trying to make is that if you want to do your thing, if you want to do music and really push the thing, you can do that and you can move all over. You know what I mean? If you want to bang, you know what I mean? You're going to bang. That's what you're going to do. And banging is something else. You feel me?
Right.
And that's something else. And that's real. So let that mean, you know what it is. I can't tell nobody what to do. It's just, that's what it is.
Yeah, well said. I mean, that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I think it's a good example that you were able to show, like, yeah, you was able to just do your thing regardless. And hopefully people can learn from that example, because, yeah, I just want to see people get to the music so we can win, like I said. So all right, so going back to like your own like independent releases, you dropped a tape in, I think it was 94?
94, yeah, we did.
Ghetto Politics?
Man, that was a joint too, classic. I'm gonna remaster that and get that out digital on all digital platforms real soon, probably by a couple months or something. Great body of work that I did with this cat named Quiz One. He happened to be from San Jose, Fat Mac. He goes by the Fat Mac. It was dope. You know what I mean? That whole album is basically freestyling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just sounded like Frisco dank music.
Yeah,
basically.
It was a beautiful thing, a good time, man. It was theme music for my neighborhood at that point.
Right. And Nick Peace produced it?
Yeah, Nick Peace. Nick Peace was there, but also MD, but Nick Peace, Nick Peace was my boy. Shout out to him, $1 Million. You know how you did that $1 Million
Dream.
Yeah, $1 Million Dream. Dope as hell. I had, matter of fact, the CD that Suge was running around with was produced by Nick Peace. Nick Peace was on me like, wait, so what's Suge doing with it? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, you better call him.
Wow.
I mean, if I would have probably just chilled out a little more, probably we could have worked something out type shit, you know what I mean? But
right. But so that tape like kind of got you more recognition, like locally, would you say?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Nick Peace, you know, he had a good ear and a good sound. You know, Andre Nicotina, me and Kugner went to this joint over there. I don't know where that joint's at, but we did a classic over there before he passed away, rest in peace. And it was just a good thing. It was a good time, you know what I mean? And that was before I got to hook up with Vallejo, you know what I mean? That was Nick Peace. And back then he was in Berkeley. He wasn't even in Oakland.
Right. Yeah, so you started getting into like the by this time, like the Bay Area underground scene is like starting to really
bubbling,
pop off.
And I got a cousin by the name of Gina Luna. She got 3 sisters, Gina, Nina, and Tina. You know what I mean? And her mama name was another Ina too. It was all Inas. Beautiful, beautiful girls. And so she know I'm rapping and shit. And she hooks up with some cat. She's like, hey, she gave me a number. She's like, I told you I'm call. He's dope. I'm telling you, Cisco, fuck with him. I'm like, okay. So that's been one of my blessings too. One of our Latinx, being Latino, one of our biggest commodities is our women. You know what I mean? Even if you don't want me there, I know you want my sister there. You feel me? Guarantee you. You feel me? You might not want to see me in my homeboys. I feel you because we're treacherous. But bet you gonna let her in. You know what I mean? And she gonna get in and she gonna text me all the information. She be like, come fuck with me, Cisco. I'm like, okay. So I hook up with a cat named being Tone Capone. Man, that brother taught me a lot. And just being around him at his spots, you know, that's when he was doing the Loonies. And he's doing, after that, we did 3 Times Crazy, and everybody done been through. I mean, you got to list everybody, man. Everybody, Harm, Lurch, so many, or D-Shot, everybody been through there, you know what I mean? That's where I went every day, you know what I mean?
Right.
Go trapping, and I go there. And it was my kickback, you know what I mean? It was my spot.
Yeah. Speaking of the ladies, you're kind of a ladies' man, huh?
Oh, man, I don't know, I love ladies, though. I tell you that.
Yeah, because you know, just going through your catalog, it's a lot of songs.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely pay homage to the Latino women, the Latina women that are beautiful, independent, strong, beautiful, and nourishing, and still a family woman, but yet strong enough, even to be in our forces, armed forces. You know what I mean? I got a couple of friends that are in armed services, and they give their duty to the country, give their booty to me. You feel me?
Yeah, I also noticed there's a little ism in the rhyme.
Yeah, definitely. You know what I mean? It's bred. You know, it's what we do, man. Bay Area, if you're from the Bay Area, be thankful, man, because you know what, you got an advantage. I just tell you, because we're just a little bit different than the rest of these cats. Where we can blend, man. We can get it. We can pivot. And we move right, man. You know what I mean? Any Bay Area nigga, you find him in the right situation, he might flourish on you. You know what I mean? That's why they scared of Bay Area cats. I keep it real with you.
No doubt. Okay. Well, you mentioned Vallejo, and you got to work a lot with Mac Dre.
Yeah, man. Well, prior to meeting Mac Dre, he was locked up. I get connected with Baby Bash and JT when we start going with Johnny Z's studio. And Johnny Z had a dope-ass studio right there in the middle of Vallejo, and everybody used to fall through that motherfucker. And get on tracks. And, you know what I mean? They hear you shit rocking, they like, who this? You know what I mean? What's up? Can I get, yeah, come on, you know what I mean? And we're just getting down with everybody, pimps, players, hustlers, real cats that's coming through there really knocking shit down. And that was a good time, you know what I mean? I'm down the store, walking down the store, the corner store from Johnny Z's and liquor store, grabbing some blunts, some liquor. Bump into little mama, cool little light-skinned sister, she's singing. I'm like, hey, you sound good, girl. You should come to the studio and fuck with me. She's like, where you at? I'm like, right there. She was like, people standing out front. That's my people. I'm gonna be right there. She come through. She ended up blowing on like 2 songs. It ended up going on. Both of them went on. I don't know where she was at. I don't even know if she gave me a number or nothing. She just came through, did her thing, dropped her some dough. She was like, I'm gone.
Damn.
It was a beautiful thing, you know what I mean? So a lot of talent, it just bubbled, it fell through, it was like a gravity pool, man. It was pulling people through there. It was really getting down.
So that's where you ended up hooking up with Dre?
No, I hooked up with Miami. And then he was telling me about, wait till Dre get on, nigga, wait till Dre get on. And I'm like, okay. And then I started getting like, well, shit, when Dre come home, he don't like me. So I'm thinking in my mind, like, he's like, nigga, that's my brother, nigga. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I just don't know. I'm not sure. You feel me? But when he came in, it was just like he said. And Dre is better in person than he is on tape or video. You know what I mean? Anybody will tell you that, man. He showed up, man. It just felt good, man. It felt real good to be with that brother and to be doing music, and I was doing it. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow. And he was digging my shit, and I'm digging his shit. Dre called me 2, 3 in the morning. Cisco, he be downtown Broadway. Nigga, what is you doing, nigga? I'm like, nigga, listen. He played my shit or some shit. I'm loving that nigga for that, you know what I mean? On Mac Dre's Best of Mac Dre, the first joint came out full of Mac Dre's covers. All Mac Dre's covers except for mine. You feel me? When I seen that, I looked at that, I was like, nigga, did you put my cover on your album, nigga? He's like, yeah, nigga. I'm like, man, I love you, nigga. He's like, man, shut up, nigga. You my brother, nigga. I'm like, that's love, you feel me? Like, I don't care about nothing now. You know, you can tell me whatever now, but all I know is when he was live, I know what it was, you know what I mean? So, that's what it is.
That's dope. Yeah, so you had a relationship with Miami Dre, like pretty much you was rolling with the whole Thizz.
Oh, for sure.
Squad. Well, rest in peace, Mac Dre, bro.
I love that nigga, man.
Yeah, y'all got some legendary collaborations.
Yes.
And you also mentioned JT and Bash. So y'all were in the group Latino Velvet.
The LVC, Latino Velvet, yeah.
What was the story behind that?
That was just trying to make some traction happen, and we trying to make the traction happen, and it was like I was doing my thing. I was doing the show at Alameda, Lowrider Car Show, and JT was there with In Too Deep, and he had Bash with him, and we seen each other. I seen their set, they seen my set, and they were like, man, come fuck with us. We got a little project we're working on, Latino Velvet Project. All right. I go, you know, I'm at everything. You invite me, I'm showing up. Boom, I'm there. We show up at the studio. Matter of fact, it was in San Jose. So Greg G, shout out Greg G, rest in peace. And they let me hear the tracks. And as soon as I heard the track, I was like, I'm ready. And I did West Coast Radio first. And the way I did it was like, it was all three of us together, you know what I mean? And it was like, hey, that feels good, man. So then we did, he said, we got this other track. What do you think it should be? Bash had this track, Rossa Park, but he didn't have nothing on it. He just had a beat, the original beat. He said, something for the homies, you know what I'm saying? I said, hold up. Just pinned it out real quick. He was like, man, go cut that. We cut that. And it was history, you know what I mean? Then he ended up switching the beat and getting K-Lu to switch the pound out and doing that I Do Love You GQ version, though. Made it hot. And they put Frost on it. I already had known Frost, but kind of like we fell out with him because he's so wild. He a Gemini. Are you, what are you?
I'm a Taurus.
Taurus. Stubborn cats. You gotta figure out.
Yeah, a little lightweight.
But yeah, Geminis, you got people switch up on you, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah. So, anyways, you know, he just we did that song and it ended up being like they said, how can we market this? I said, man, let Rossa Park be the single and Latino Velvet be the group, man. Fuck this project shit, man. Be the group. And the dude we was working with, Bernard or something, he had Swerve Records, you know Swerve? And Swerve Records, we did a Poppy Collar, we did a couple of sick cuts on that Swerve compilation. That was a tight one, remember that Swerve compilation? And that shit took off at Rossa Park and Latino Velvet. It became like a thing. We went, did some shows. It tripped me out the first time I'm rapping. I see some people saying my lyrics. I'm like, what the fuck? It blew my mind, you know what I mean? It was a beautiful thing. And we've been rocking ever since. You know what I mean? Bash is still rocking. That boy's still doing his thing. He tell you he's low-key, retired, but he's still doing his thing. He got hits. It's all y'all. It's like that's a big move because, like I said earlier, like we was talking about like the beginnings of like this Latin rap scene, but then when it became like an underground independent thing, I feel like that shit was big. Like you said, like the lowrider shows and certain markets like in the Southwest or sure. You know what I mean, all around the West Coast. It's like that's a whole lane. And honestly, to keep it funky, I feel like Latinos are like the biggest supporters of hip hop. Absolutely, we're the fabric, one of the main fabrics in this in a consumer market, and that's why I know that regardless, the Latino market don't go. We right here, bro. We spending, we working every day. and we spending every night. You feel me? And that's all they living for. They're kids and trying to make some money, trying to do it right. And we love hip hop music. That we use, when you go back to New York, you look it up. You know what I mean? Puerto Ricans was right there. You know what I mean? Mexicans really wasn't on. We're not out there on those coasts. That's who represents us on the East Coast. Puerto Ricans.
Right.
Down in Florida, Cubans. Now it's Dominicans. Now you can't even tell what a Latino looks like. You know what I mean? He might look like you. He might look like him. He might look like me. He might look like the whitest white man with blue eyes. You know what I mean? And he's straight speaking nothing but Spanish, Argentinian or something. You know what I mean? So you can't never tell. You know what I mean? You can't never tell.
But the support is real.
The support is there.
Yeah.
The buying power.
Right.
Buying power.
So yeah, it's interesting. So you kind of making your way through this whole underground thing.
Yeah.
And then, I remember when your single "Oh Boy" was like heavy rotation,
it was everywhere, right?
Bro.
It was everywhere.
Like that's old school KMEL status. Like that thing was on a run.
Yeah.
How did that come together? You start linking and making songs with Kurupt and Roscoe and all these cats from LA.
Yeah. I hooked up through Frost. I tell you, Frost is a love and hate situation with that brother. You know what I mean? Because I do love him, and at times, you know what I mean? I don't even hate him no more, but I got love for the nigga. But so he hooks me up. We're out there doing a show like in, I think Florida or something. We did a lowrider car show, and he tells me, "Hey, you should come back with me to LA, and do this track for this movie that Ice Cube got going." I'm like, "For real?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Frederick got this sick ass beat." Woo. I'm like, "All right." So instead of flying back to the Bay, I fly with him back to LA. When we get to Fred Rec's studio, shout out Fred Rec. I've been calling that brother. He ain't been picking up. Pick up Fred. And
is Fred Rec from the Bay?
He's from the. I mean, I met him in the Bay. You feel me?
Because it's a liquor store owner in my hood that swears that
no,
he's
for
Fred
real.
Rec's cousin.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah,
it is his cousin. Guaranteed.
Okay.
Guaranteed that's his cousin. Shit. Assalamu alaikum, my people. You feel me?
Right.
Come on, I fucks with him.
Right.
So yeah, Fred Rec. So we go with Fred Rec, and he had that beat, that next Mamacita beat. Bam. Bam, bam, bam. That shit was knocking. I'm like, that shit's knocking. So Superfly's in the studio with him. First time I meet Superfly, he's from Dog Pound. I know who he is. Underrated still to this day. And they groove into it. They're like, this shit's knocking. I'm like, yeah. So they're like, you gonna write it out? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna write it out. So Frost got me there to pen it out because I was just penning for a minute. You feel me? So I get there, I start writing. I'm like, I come up with the hook. Superfly like, how'd it go? I tell him the words, and next thing you know, he's laying that shit down. That sounds sweet. I'm like, damn, that shit sounds clean, nigga. And then I do my verse, and the Super's like, I got a verse for this too. For sure. And then Kurupt shows up. He's like, what's this shit? And I already had met him before when I did this other song with I wrote for Frost. I wrote a song called Outlaws on Frost's album before that. And King T and Kurupt was there. That was real like, what's up, some type of shit. But this time I already met him. So when he came in, he was like, this you? I'm like, yeah, I'm on the straight. He's like, I'm jumping on. I'm like, all right, for sure. You know what I mean? It was like we was partners, you know what I mean? He just jumped on. And he had two people with him that I'll never forget. He had Baby Hump, and he had Jaws. Baby Jaws, Little Jaws. And rest in peace, Jaws, you know what I mean? He ended up passing away the next time we hooked up. It was like we hooked up that night, we did this magical song. I just had them pills. I'm handing out candy. Everybody's off the hook. Everybody's off the hook in the building, and we go home and we get a call 2 weeks later. They tell me, hey, Ice Cube's putting it in the movie. For real? Cool. But you got to come back. We've got to do it at the big studio. But remember the homeboy he was rapping with? Because I ended up doing like a little mixtape, but with that dude Draws, because they say he sound like Biggie. They say I sound like Pac. So we just started freestyling back and forth. And they ended up printing those up and giving them away at his funeral, you know what I mean? Because it was the last piece of work that he did, and I was honored to be on that with him, you know what I'm saying? That's what happened. So when we recorded the actual song that you hear in the movie, it was after he had passed away, so it was like hard to be like, you know what I mean? But we still pulled it off. But it was the first version, that shit was fire, you know what I mean? But we needed to record it over, so.
Well, that was a big look, man. Like, so that was in next Friday. And it was in that moment when Ice Cube meets the Mexican neighbor lady, right?
They pull up the Joker. Remember the Joker?
Oh, okay, right. With
they
the
pulling
brothers.
up. He's like, "Who's that?" He's like, "Oh, that's Joker." You feel me? They got out the car. You know what I mean? And they played my verse in the joint. Like I say that, I jumped up when we went to the premiere. I'm like, "What?" You know, Frisco niggas, we go wild. And everybody sit down. I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's my shit right there. And it was tight. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, if I can give a shout out to Ice Cube, man, he's doing the last Friday. Need to get on that joint. It's the last one. Trying to catch that. Soundtrack is cool, man.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah,
that's big. So that led you to have more songs with Kurupt.
Kurupt, yeah. And then the Gavin was still going. That was when the Gavin, right? Gavin was still active. Last year, the Gavin. Kurupt calls me and tells me, I'm coming up to the Bay. Cool, I got you. He's like, you know, some beef going on, whatever, you know what I'm saying, Cash. I got you. My Frisco niggas, we show up, we pull up, we go there, and they had a show, Short Chop was performing. Short Chop, that's like Cube's cousin or something. Mm-hmm. And then the Rough Riders came, it was kind of like a little tense or whatever. And we got on stage with Rough Riders. I mean, we got on stage with Short Chop.
Yeah, that's when Kurupt was like kind of taking shots at DMX.
Yeah. So it was like, yeah, whatever, you know what I mean? So we get on stage with Short Chop, give him support, because they had hella heads and shit. So we give him support, and I'm on stage, and all of a sudden I start saying, "Oh boy," right? For some reason I'm like I don't know, I was just doing it, you feel me? And they was like, they heard it, and then we started all saying it, and then they said, "That's what we're gonna record tomorrow for you." We was going to the studio the next day with Tone Capone. And shout out to Capone again. He came with that shit, and that's what we went to record the next day. You know what I mean? So it came. We wrote it. I wrote it on stage when we was like, I don't know what we was doing, like, you know, basically letting these cats know that we got Short Chop's back. West Coast was in the building, and that's it. You know what I mean? And we was like, oh boy, we in Frisco. You know what I mean? We was deep as fuck. So it was like, it sounded so loud you could almost hear us. We didn't have no microphones.
Damn.
Everybody shouting out.
Yeah, I mean that was a big record. Like how did that record get pushed so hard? Like were you on a label then?
I was on an indie label, but they was distributed through Universal, but it was just a distribution deal. You feel me? But really, I gotta give it to my DJ partners. That really got my shit started. Mind Motion, Rick Lee. You know what I'm saying? Back then it was real. Like cats was really. Get your record.
You can hand them a record, have a relationship with them, and they'll put you in rotation.
My Motion was my DJ. You know what I mean? Shout out, that was my dude. We used to get down in Mission Rock and Big Heart City and show up and turn shit out. You feel
Shout
me?
out to My Motion, man.
That dude is legendary.
My guy.
My guy. Campaign. That man loves it. You know what I mean? I love that dude. You know what I mean? Because of him, we got to perform and meet some. You know, I got to meet Pac. I got to meet Money B. All them cats came to our shows. You know what I mean? We was keeping it lit, for real.
Oh, so they came to, Digital Underground came to see you in My Motion perform.
Well, it was My Motion shit, but he put me on, so you gonna see me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't say you didn't see me, you know you see me.
So you actually got to meet Tupac, because that's a big thing, like you said. Like, for some reason, it's a lot of Tupac comparisons.
Yeah. I say, if you want to wonder why I sound like Pac, Bay Boy, Playboy, right around the block. You know what I mean? It just happened to be my tonation. I ain't changing nothing. I'm be talking to you.
Yeah, I hear I hear the voice right now. What was Pac like when you met him?
It was wild. It was, you know, that was back when they had St. Ives was promoting and sponsoring and shit, right? It was a bad look, because, you know, these niggas, they had the whole, this is like backstage right here, and they had the whole thing packed with buckets full of 40s, right? Niggas is grabbing all these 40s, getting drunk and shit. It was crazy, you know what I mean? It was crazy, but Pac was cool, you know what I mean? He got to, you know, tell him, you know, we came on stage, and him and Money B, boom, we did our thing, and, you know, they gave us props, you know what I mean? It was a good thing, man. We had to have My Motion. It was like you know, then we had, I was rocking with Terry D at that point. Remember Terry D, my boy Terry Dactyl, and Henry, my boy, I can't remember his rap name, man, it's crazy. But he was the original dude that was with My Motion, and then my boy had connects with him, and they was doing their thing with My Motion. I'm like, man, put me out. And then he was like, man, we need to fuck with Cisco. And he was like, all right, come on, we fuck. You know, they let me in, and then we started tearing shit up. It was on.
Dope. I mean, yeah. Like since then, you've kept it lit. It's couple albums that dropped. And
yeah. After that one, I was kind of disenchanted by the whole game. I expected a little more action on it. It didn't happen. And the second time around, they was trying to like shortstop me, so they was trying to give me low money. So I just gave them. I didn't even give them an album. I gave them a compilation, West Coast Locals. And
so what you think they dropped the ball after having such a big single? And
yeah, man, because we should have took off. You know what I mean? I could take a little credit for my mistakes. I done made some mistakes, like showing up things late. You know what I mean? As you see today, I was punctual. You know what I mean? We try to be punctual nowadays, but you know what I mean. Just remember that always punctuality is important, man. You know what I mean? But back then it wasn't really intentional or nothing. But I sometimes I show up a little late. You know what I mean? And it wasn't cool. You know what I mean? So came here, it was like, yeah, they didn't have that shit. So, you know what I mean? So my record basically disappeared overnight. You know what I mean?
Man, yeah, I didn't want to say it, but it damn near kind of seemed that way because it's like
it did really.
I remember hearing your shit every fucking hour.
Yeah,
and then like maybe like a month later, it was like
gone,
out of rotation.
Yeah, and that's crazy because it's just the way it happened, man. But if it was keep going at that point, that's when we had two-way pages. I don't know, you remember two-way pages and the things of typing and shit.
Sidekicks.
Right, and somehow 40 got my joint and was texting me. He had that record out, I hope I don't go back.
Yeah.
But at the end of that record, he was saying, oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy, right? So they was getting confused, like LA was trying to like, well, who's got oh boy? We like, I got oh boy, but he's saying that it's a Bay Area slang, you know what I mean? Like, we all say that, you feel me? Like, and 40 kind of got at me too. He was like, man, what's up, why you do that remix with these LA cats? All right, well, no, why you do the joint with the LA cats? I'm like, 40, man, they fuck with me on love, my nigga. You trying to hit me for 5 racks upside the head, you trying to boo-bop me, my nigga. He like, You know what I mean? He was going to do it for me too, though. Him and Nate Dogg wanted to join. And I told the dude, man, if you don't give that man 5 racks, and that's what Nate Dogg wanted. Nate Dogg was supposed to
get on the remix?
On the remix. And it didn't, the dude was, dude dropped the ball and it didn't happen. But, and LA was just about to jump on it. Damian Young was a program director out there, and he was ready to jump on it. So it was like I say, the best of times and the worst of times, my man. You feel me?
Yeah, man, that's how this game goes, bro. Yeah. It's a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, for real. It was a lot. And there was a personal situation going on in my life, with the law and the whole shit, like real. You know what I mean? I was going through it at the same damn time.
Yes, cases or something?
Yeah. I got indicted, you feel me, on some real shit. And so I done been there, I done seen it, you know what I mean, like really, I'm telling you what I
Did you get locked up?
Yeah, I mean, I ended up beating my case. I took it all the way to the box.
That's not an easy thing to do.
No,
was it federal or the state?
Federal.
Oof.
Federal.
You beat the feds?
Beat the feds.
At trial?
And they like had a 87 points.
I think it's 98, 99, bro.
Yeah.
They don't come and indict you until they got damn near everything they going to use against you.
I think I used the last entrapment because I felt like, I wasn't trapped by the situation, and it was just a crazy situation. Like, it was just a crazy situation. But I tell you something, I learned from that, like, this game, you can get money fast, man, but it leaves just as fast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's so also, you gotta be. It's not cheap to put on a legal defense.
Man, it breaks you. If you don't, if you still got money after the lawyers, you know what I mean? But it was very expensive, man, and it put my family and put my neighborhood, put everybody on the line because everybody was like, "Hey, Cisco, I'm like, nigga, I know, nigga. And I went through the joint, and people had the audacity. He's snitching. Please, feel me? My paperwork. You say you ain't. When it says the United States of America versus your name, it's serious.
Right.
Right now, when you get busted in these kinds of cases, you catch a case and go to 850 Bryan or you get like San Bruno, whatever. It's gonna say the county of San Francisco, the county of San Mateo. When it's fed, it says the United States of America. I said the whole United States of America.
Right.
The whole United States wants your ass.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? And I stayed on that side versus everybody else that was show up on my case. They end up on some others. They're no longer on that case. They made a deal. Yeah. Where's my deal? No deal. Snitch or go to. So I said, man, I ain't got no choice. I got to fight it. And I had a good lawyer, Joe Sullivan, shout out. And but it ended up getting fought by Peter Dennison and Patrick Dennison, excuse me. And he beat it. And you got to pick the jury right.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to have everything right when you're doing that shit, bro. And they coached me, you know what I mean? But I went through it. It was real.
It's stressful shit, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's some stressful shit. And it's also like, that makes pushing a music career a lot harder when you got to deal with that.
Impossible, damn near. You know what I mean? They got you staying here, not being able to move like you want to move. But it's what I brought on myself. You know what I'm saying? I knew the situation.
So the music wasn't doing what it was supposed to do, so you had to find other alternatives.
It wasn't even that. You know, that's why I beat it on Troutman, because this cat got cracked, right? I was working with him. Big time, this dude was big time. He got cracked. But it wasn't on no, they were watching him, they just happened to catch one of his loads coming in. And they had him from that point. But they didn't have no history on him. But I didn't know that. So when I lost contact with him, I said, fuck it, I give the game up. I'm gonna go to rap. I'm not gonna sell nothing. I had a client, one of my clients told me, Cisco, you know why you can't be successful? I said, why? He said, because you got your hand in the devil's pocket. I said, what'd you say? I was about to smack on dude. He was like, no, I'm just trying to be real with you, you know what I mean? I said, the fuck you say to me, partner? Like, you know, you talking about the devil and God to me, my nigga? Like, what the fuck are you saying? And he just basically was, I looked in his eye and I could see that he was trying to tell me something. Maybe it was just the glossy eye he had, I don't know. But he said, you know, what he said resonated with me. So I said, fuck it, I quit. So I didn't do nothing. So I wasn't doing nothing. But I ended up bumping into that cat. And he put some pressure on me. And I owed him type shit. And I wanted to help him, you know what I mean? Like he was, you know what I mean? It was a bad situation that he got caught up. He was a great dude before that. And but I didn't know he was snitching. You know what I mean? And I did one move. And that one move, they tried to, you know, I didn't get busted that day. They tell you, if I was the cops, you'd be arrested right now. I'm not arrested. He said, yeah. He said, see, so we need to do 10 more. I said, you crazy, bro. I said, that's the last thing you ever gonna see. I did that one thing for you. I'm out, bro. That's it. So for 6 months, they tried to find me, couldn't find me. They finally found me, and it was all bad. And my record was just hitting radio and the whole shit. And that was part of the reason why I couldn't make the events that I was supposed to make. Yeah.
That's a...
So, you know, that's what it was. And they're like, you want to tell talk? They said, you want to talk? I said, what you need? You need some beats? What you need? Some features? I got you. Like, smart, they grabbed me. I'm like, where the keys? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. My keys in my car inside the ignition. You know what I mean? So they took me and had me sitting in there for a minute. But I waited till Joe Sullivan came back from vacation. The whole shit G'd it up. You know what I mean? Like, my dad was like, you don't want the lawyer? I got this other lawyer. Hell no. I'll see you, Dad. I'm going back to my cell. And waited until they brought Joe, and Joe got me out, and Joe defended me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Frisco lawyer.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Off top.
Wow, so that kind of led to like your career kind of taking a little hiatus, huh?
Yeah, it was fucked up. And I did some time, you know what I mean? But eventually I ended up, it took like 3.5 years, 4 years to fight it.
Right.
Because they wanted the other cats involved.
Right.
And I wasn't giving them up. So they just kept looking. After a year, okay, we're about to go to trial now. They found one. One leads to another. So it went on for 2 more years, 4 years. Finally got to settle it. It was a bad situation. You feel me? Stay away from it.
So what was next for you after you put that behind you?
Man, I had a child, beautiful child. I had a couple of them, you know what I mean? And shout out to Kaiser, Frankie, Christopher, my stepson, you know what I mean? Tristan. I just lived life, you know what I mean? And kind of like sat back for a minute, because what it was, I lost a lot of people, man. I lost Roger Troutman, who became a brother to me. I lost Mac Dre, who became a brother to me. I lost Guy Rice Skrilla, who was my brother, rest in peace. I lost Blinky, another street, he was my brother. These are all cats that I lost within a matter of 5 years of each other. And I felt like it was just like my shit was cursed or something, you know what I mean? Like every time I'm getting close, somebody gets clipped or something goes, you know what I mean? And I was tired of losing people, so I'm like, you know what, I'm cool, man. Like, if that's what it's gonna take for me to bubble up, I'm good. You know what I mean? I ain't losing no more. So I backed up, you know. Because the world, it is real out here. Like, they tell you all this Illuminati, that shit is all, everything's real, man. That shit is all real. Like, it's real. So you fuck with it if you want to. You don't. You know what I mean? But it's all that shit is out there for you. Everything that you hear on the internet, it's all real. That gangbang is real. These drugs are real. These police are real. Shit is real. You know what I mean? You get caught up in any one of those things, it's a tear you're gonna be seeing. You know what I mean? Pray to God you don't. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? You gotta move smarter, man. You know what I mean? That's what I learned. So I'm just trying to, you know, I've survived it. I've looked back, you know what I mean? I got experience with all them brothers, and they all died by the gun, you know what I mean? Dre, my people, Roger, you know what I mean? Everybody, you know what I mean? Over senseless ass shit, crazy ass shit. So it was like, and these were people who were about to make it, they were doing things, and they was about to catapult me like, I'm fucking with you next. And gone, you know what I mean? And I felt, when I had them in my corner, how strong you gonna feel when you got Mac Dre in your corner, my nigga? How strong you gonna feel when you got Roger Troutman in your corner? They calling you like, I felt like I was on top of the world, bro, like unstoppable. Like, I just was chilling, you know what I mean? Waiting for my people. And my people got gunned down. And it was just like, it ain't, you know what I mean? I know that they had it all happen for their own reasons. It had nothing to do with me. But somehow I found a way to blame myself, like maybe I got something to do with this shit or some shit, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to know the next person. You might be the next person to help me out. They might try to get you, Dregs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm just playing.
Nah, I mean, shit's real too, bro. Like, shit, I don't play about my life. You know what I mean? And,
you gotta watch yourself.
Yeah, tomorrow is not promised. And yeah, one thing I say a lot to myself is don't fuck around. You know what I'm saying? Don't fuck around thinking it can't happen. You know what I mean? Don't fuck around.
Like, what is this? What is that little sassy ass attitude? Like, what?
Yeah.
That gets you caught up, man.
Yeah, nah, I take shit seriously.
Respect shit like, what, excuse me? You know what I mean? Just to check shit out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I take it. I don't even cry. I look twice before I cross the street. You know what I mean?
I got a rubberneck at one time.
Yeah. Yeah, nah, I appreciate you sharing that, bro. So
you know, edit the shit the way you
yeah. No, it's good, bro. It's good. You know, you being honest, man. Yeah. Actually, was, you know, rest in peace to Roger Troutman, but we forgot to even speak on y'all connection too.
Yeah, so we hooked up right through. He ended up getting on Rosser Park, right? He made that shit dope, right? And but before that, prior to that, my crew from Excelsior, we hired him to come and do 2 songs with us. We met him at a car show, and everybody was like pumped. You know, when you see, if you ever seen Roger Troutman perform, he rocked the crowd. You know what I mean? No disrespect to Zap. Zap is doing his thing right now with them. They're still rocking. But Roger was special. He was a star of the family. Let it be said. You know what I mean? He was the Michael of the Troutmans. Period. And he could play all instruments. You know what I mean? Guitar, bad keyboard, and he was doing his thing, and we said, man, let's get him to do a song with you, Cisco. So we hired him, and he came and did 2 songs with us. And he's a real cat. Like, I brought him to the projects to record. And this cat, I left him in the studio, came back, go send him the money. He's outside the project signing autographs to all the people. You feel me? Real cat. I'm like, Raj, you cool? He's like, man, he's my people, man. Shut up. You know what I mean? He's chilling. You know, that's how Raj was. Down to earth, coolest motherfucker in the world. I love that man. And that man had love, you know what I mean? So, and before he passed away, the night he got killed, he called me up. He said, Cisco, I need you to meet me in where we met last time in LA, remember? So, Burbank Airport, yeah. He likes meeting there, small airport. Meet me there. All right. Next Wednesday. You need flight money? No, I'm good. He said, all right, cool. He said, we're gonna do a project. I'm gonna move to LA. I'm gonna get a spot. I said, what? He said, yeah. He said, I'm moving out of here. I didn't know what happened. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I'll see you next Wednesday, Raj. Yeah. He said, I'll be there. I gotta take care of some things. I'll be there. And his brother went in there and smoked him like an hour, 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later.
Whoa, that was the night that he passed.
Yeah.
Y'all made plans to do a whole project.
Together. He was gonna be me, him, and Tony G. Shout out Tony G, Julio G.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, rest in peace, Roger Troutman. Yeah. So I see what you mean. It's like, you know, it's unfortunate in a lot of this conversation we talk about you being like right there.
Yeah.
In position. I've had a few, you You know, I've had a few conversations with people like that. A lot of stories. I even got a few.
Yourself, right?
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, I give you props. Your shit is tight.
I appreciate it,
you do
bro.
your thing, man.
I appreciate it, man. But, you know, this all comes from years of staying in it.
Right. And observing. You observe shit, soak it up like a sponge, you know what I mean? Man, it's a good thing. You know, music is a good thing, right?
Yeah, hell yeah, bro. That's what we love. It's like,
yeah.
That's what we could talk about all these things, right? Death, incarceration, the streets, but then it all turns into something positive because
it all makes sense, right?
When
you in that studio and you're doing something that's banging and you like,
yeah,
you feeling it, your partner's feeling it, you looking at each other like,
yeah. So you got to hold on to that feeling of when you was a kid and like you said, that Sugar Hill moment of being like, damn, I could do this, I could be part of this, I could be around this, and that's what keeps us going.
Definitely, man, and it's inspiring to the children. I know my family. I got youngsters doing music. I'm sure you're gonna have one. You know what I mean? I got nephews and nieces that's talented out there, and anybody that's talented, anybody that want to work with me or get in the studio, I tell you, it's insightful to work with somebody that's got experience. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna do my best to make it a hit all the way. You feel me? I'm
oh yeah. I mean, shit, bro. I feel like. You know, like I said, you was right there. You could still be right there, man. Like let's keep going because this hip hop thing is over 50 years now. So it's longevity. You know what I'm saying? Like
they said it was gonna fade out. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They said we was gonna fizzle out.
Exactly.
But then we thizzled out.
Exactly.
You feel me?
Oh boy.
What about that? Oh boy.
Hey, I just remember one thing I forgot to ask you about, bruh. Like. One of the famous Mac Dre lines that always tripped me out, being from the city, is when he said, "Ask Hav and Excelsior."
Bingo. Jackpot. Ding, 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 ding.
What was the story behind that?
Man, let me tell you something. We was running with Mac Dre so tough, every day type shit. But to hang out with these cats, you got to be balling. You know what I mean? These cats is smoke ounces of weed, you know what I mean? Best weed and going, let's go eat over here and let's go shopping over here. I'm like, man, I'm going to stay home for a day or two. Like, you cats is expensive, right?
Right.
But Hav, he could fuck with Dre on that tip. Hav was right there with him. Hav got dough, right? And swag and knows how. He'd be on his own shit doing some shit. Dre be like, what you doing? Oh, because my boys had swag, you feel me? Like, he was the first person I seen with a permanent grill, rocking that shit. I'm like, he went from being a kid with no teeth to being a kid with a grill, you know what I mean? Like, doing it, you know what I mean? And that's my nigga Hav. Shout out to Hav, that's my brother right there. And they was in the studio. They was smoking so much, my nigga lung collapsed in that motherfucker. Huh? Nigga lost his lung. That gotta hurt, man. That got to hurt when your lung collapse. You can't breathe out that motherfucker.
Right.
But listen, yeah, so he hanging with Hav doing his thing, and that's when he did that song, Ask Hav from Excelsior. Mob niggas live wealthier.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that was a great thing.
Yeah, that tripped us out at the time when that came out, because that's
specific, right?
It's very specific,
yeah.
And if you know an Excelsior cat that's really from up the hill, like you said, all them European streets, the Naples and the Persia and the
Edinburgh, the Brazil,
Madrid and all that, McLaren Park, and mobbing on dirt bikes and whipping donuts and all that type of shit.
Racing buckets in the hoods, how you get your handles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's some ill shit. So the image we had of like, damn, Mac Dre fucking around in Excelsior.
Mac Dre used to come through there.
Tight.
Be legit, come through that motherfucker, fuck with me. Max Shine used to come through and fuck with me. Everybody, who else used to come through and fuck with us? My nigga Kurupt. I brought Kurupt through there. He was drink, Kurupt loves to enjoy himself with some nice beverages and smoke some good weed and listen to music. We right there at my folks' house right here. We sitting. He's like, we need some liquor. I'm like, I sent my youngsters, go ahead Safeway one time. We'll be right back, Scope. You know what I mean? After hours, getting the liquor, make it happen. So we do it in the hood. You know what I mean? We're gonna make it happen.
That's dope, bruh. Well, shout out to the East. Shout out to the whole city, man.
Yeah, man. For real.
And what's coming next?
So lately I've been fucking with this music on a group level with this cat named Manny, the Smoke Man.
Yeah. Shout out to Manny.
That's why I brought him down here, but he couldn't stick for the whole thing. He got his wife and they downstairs and all this shit. So, anyways, so I'm messing with the illegal aliens. We got a group, illegal aliens, and we on some spaceships, smoking za and really doing it up. You know what I mean?
That's what's up.
And I got my single that I'm doing right now. I'm pushing It's called Vas a Lograr, Spanish. It's kind of bilingual. And check that shit out. You know what I mean? It's getting good numbers right now. And about to go mess with Bash. Going to H-Town next week or two and get a couple joints with him. He produced me some good music.
Dope. Look forward to hearing it, bro. Yeah. It was dope sitting down with you finally. Feel like this was a long time coming.
Man, I love this man, right? Dregs One.
Yes, sir. Cisco to Frisco Mac.
You know that.
Real Frisco history of the Bay podcast. And we're going to probably run this back sometime because I feel like it's more stories, man. Some of them stories was too real for TV, y'all.
Yeah, we're going to have to edit you out. Too trill for TV. Remember that? Hey, if Dre wouldn't have got wiped out, man, you know what would it look like today? Crazy, right? The landscape would be totally different.
Totally different.
Just like Pac. If Pac was still alive, the landscape would be totally different. And I'm convinced that me and Pac was we was in alignment. If not, then that's why things are. I'm still rocking though. I'm still rocking this, and I keep my thug life is in me. You feel me? And I fucks with Pac in a real way. So anybody who gets it twisted, I fucks with Pac, and Pac fucks with me. I guarantee you that. And I'm telling you, my baby's mama, she's like, they say, voyeurism, clairvoyant. Yeah, what they say. Yeah, man. Before she passed away, she done told me some dreams, bro. I'll tell you about that on the next time. You know what I mean?
All right. We're going to run it back on part 2, man.
There it is.
Until then, y'all, Dregs One with Don Cisco, History of the Bay.
MC
Peace.
Magic, all my niggas is out there. Shout out to everybody.
There you go. Shout out to all the homies. Rest in peace.
Oh,
all
DJ
the
Assassin, hold on.
Oh,
DJ,
yeah.
DJ Assassin, that's my
too.
dude, too. You know, he's underrated, too. He's done some great things, made some things happen, made big things happen, just like my boy Roger the Richter. Did I name him that? Who named him? Yeah, Roger the Richter, because he's a fucking earthquake in himself. I'll tell you the truth. Guarantee that. Roger the Richter. Joe Throttle, man, it's on the left of me right here. Real cat, stand-up cat. Javier Espinosa, Jimmy Ford, Bub L. Everybody from the E, man. Rest in peace, Brian. Tits, man, Tito called me, man. It's official, man. I fucks with all my people. You know?
There it is. We're going to end it like that, y'all. Peace.
Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay. Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay.